Welcome to the podcast. This week we have a full episode. We're going to kick it off with our peaks and our pits, and then we're going to follow it up with Ask Alex. We have our first of a three-parter interview of our resilient guest, Shorty. She's my best friend. And then she plays me in Hot Seat Trivia. This week, she's going to be talking about DV. So if you want to skip to after that and listen to trivia, we're just going to be finishing it up with that. Keep it like a little bit lighthearted. Yeah. Welcome to the Resilient AF podcast. I'm Alex Fresh.
And I'm BennettKnows. We believe everything vibrates at a certain frequency, and we're here to raise the vibration.
You'll hear stories of resilience, manifestation, and what to do when you find that even resilience has a toll. Because the bitch is tired, honey. Good morning. Welcome to the podcast. Monday morning. We're back.
Good morning.
Yay.
Yes.
We have so much to cover. It's been a long time. I feel like we'll just get into it then.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start. I'll let you hit it off with our peaks and pits. What's your peak? What's your pit? How have you been doing?
I've been doing well. It's been so long since I've seen you, and you know, we missed last week. There's so much to spill you in on. But yeah, I've been doing good, just working, staying focused and all of that stuff. But my peak is, well, my question is, what does it take to be a good wingman? Because my peak is I was a good wingman, and I'll tell you guys all about it now.
Okay.
Usually my friends are like, oh, you hang out with the girls all the time. Why don't you bring them around? Like, are your friends even real? You talk about your beautiful friends, but we've never seen them. So why don't you put us on? And I'm like, oh, you guys, whatever. But remember I texted you like, hey, what does like a Taurus female get along with a Scorpio male? And you were like, oh no, they wouldn't get along. Unfortunately, those were the signs of the two friends that I was trying to put together, because I always thought that like maybe they would have a thing for each other. So we ended up all going out, and I told them both like, hey, I'm bringing my friend. I want you to meet. And you know, they met each other. Things were going as planned, but the Taurus brought another friend with her.
Okay.
And that friend liked the friend that I was trying to hook her up with.
Okay. Well, what I said about Taurus and Scorpio is that ultimately they're not good together long term, but they have a lot of sexual chemistry.
Well, I guess the chemistry was there, but it was there a little bit more with somebody else.
I got you.
Because not the friends that I wanted to hook up, the Scorpio wanted to be with the friend that the Taurus brought. So, I mean.
So how did your friend feel about that?
She was cool because she was like, my friend likes him, so like, go her.
Okay.
But then when I told her like, hey, I was trying to hook you guys up together, she was like, oh, wow.
Oh, she didn't know.
Told me that earlier.
Oh.
Because I didn't tell them both. I just, in my head, was like, you guys will hit it off. Here you go. Meet each other.
You definitely should have told her.
So, bad wingman or good wingman?
You tried.
I tried.
I think it was meant to be. But maybe her guides were like guiding, like, you don't need to meet this man.
Right.
This man's not for you.
Tonight, for your friend.
Yeah.
So overall, it was a really good time. We had a great night, and I just felt like I did something because my friend finally got to meet one of my friends, and friend of the friend liked him. So that worked out.
Yeah.
My hit is the worst thing to happen to someone that's hangry is you take their food, right? You're supposed to give hangry people food.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was hangry following the 4th of July. Shout outs to everyone. I hope you guys had a happy holiday. You feel me? But on the 5th, I made a to-go plate, and I was like really, really excited about my to-go plate. Like I stacked it up. I just wanted grilled food. I wanted like the cookout food, you know?
Yeah.
So I have my to-go plate. I got all the way home. I might have like smoked a little, so I had the munchies. And then I realized that I left the plate at the cookout.
I'm dead.
I was devastated. I don't think I've had a meltdown like this in years.
Oh no, you for sure did.
Oh my gosh.
You should have drove back and got it.
No, because it was all the way across town.
Yeah,
it was
fuck
like,
that.
it's not worth it. But I was like kind of disappointed. But
Bro, party foul.
I know. So that was the pit of my week.
I once saw this person have their like to-go food on top of their car, and they drove off. It most definitely fell off.
I think that would have been even worse. Whenever you leave something on the top of your car, it sucks. Have you ever like drove near someone and you're like, hey,
yeah, and
your cell phone's on top of your car.
or like people are screaming at cars and they're like, what?
You left your baby on top of the car.
You're like, this person's on drugs, go. Anyway, okay, so my peak and my pit for the week. Well, first of all, I don't really have a pit.
Ooh.
Because yes, we were off last week, and we've both been go, and it's just been like a ton of fun. It's summertime, but I think I have 2 peaks. I went to Nevada and Utah and hiked in the Zion National Park, which was so much fun with my best friend for her birthday. Stayed in an Airbnb and her husband came and we just had so much fun. And then we finished it in Vegas. That's where I flew into. I flew into Vegas and then we drove to where we stayed. We flew out of Vegas, but Vegas was like probably one of the most fun times that I've had in Vegas. And I don't go to clubs like at night, and I didn't go to any clubs, like not hip hop or anything like that, but I did go to a couple country bars and woo! Let me fucking tell you, I've been missing out. Okay, like I'm gonna learn how to line dance.
Wait, what was it?
So I went to Gillies,
club?
just a big bar of line dancing, and this one dude came up and asked me to dance, and I don't know how to line dance really, so I'm like, no, thank you. Felt like an idiot, so I'm like, I definitely have to take classes. And then we went to Blake Shelton's bar, that's on the Strip, and that was so much fun. There was a band playing, and I was just recording them, and one of the band members took my phone on stage, just showing the rest of the band members, and it was a grand old time.
Ooh.
So I've been missing out on these country bars, even though I'm so country. I grew up country. I just never.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, come on.
I was more like hip hop, R&B, right? But country, it's like right there. So that's my new thing that I realized. My second peak is, so I've been manifesting finding like a BMW group, like a club to join in the Pacific Northwest. So I found one. We went on a ride. I went on my first ride with this group. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint, because if you follow me on Instagram, shout out, I'm at that Dreas if you want to. So I went last Saturday and there was 24 BMWs and we just mobbed around and took pictures like out in nature. You know how long I've been manifesting this, Bennett?
Yeah.
Boom.
It looks like dope footage. You feel me?
Right? And we, like, I have a Yasmarina Blue M3. And there was 3 other ones, so there was 4 of us total. And I'm like, okay, like that's dope, but I'm gonna have to get my car wrapped.
It's something else. What would you get it wrapped in?
I don't know. There's like a few different colors that I think would be really, really dope, but light turquoise would be sick. Or I've always wanted a purple car.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So
you should do purple.
Yeah, some shade of purple. I'm not sure yet. Maybe like a midnight purple with sparklies would be really pretty. I don't know yet. I'd have to like look at a lot of different options. But that was so much fun, for real. So shout out to everybody that I met. Thanks for the invite, and I'll see you soon. So I'm done with my peek in my pit.
Ooh. What time is it?
It's time for Ask Alex.
Ask Alex.
And this week I have the question.
Alex is asking Alex.
I'm asking the question this week because someone asked me this week, and I was like, ooh, that'd be a good question for Ask Alex. So the question is, now this is not going to be for everybody, but everybody has an opinion. So if you were to have a man, would you be okay with your man using makeup to make himself look better like women do? Not cross-dressing, even though I think I would be fine. I don't really give a shit what people do. I don't judge. So if my man wanted to do that, I don't give a shit, for real. But what I'm like actually saying is, on a daily basis, would you be okay with your man putting foundation on?
I think I would. I would totally be okay, because I think that people think because someone puts makeup on, that makes them like feminine, and I don't think those two are connected. I think that I know a lot of guys that make you do really nice skin treatments for their face. So taking it to the next level and putting a foundation on, or
totally
enhancing your eyebrows, especially if you're not packing in that department, why not? I think that women do so much to maintain their beauty, and I don't think there's any problem with men doing the same.
I mean, I like that you mentioned skincare, because it really does start with the skincare, but there are some amazing just tinted moisturizers that will just make your face look flawless while, protecting it with SPF. That's the most important thing. And it just has a really good base, to cover up any blemishes. I love that. I would actually really appreciate it if my man did that, to be honest.
Didn't your man used to do that?
Maybe. Yeah.
Right?
Yes. But is there a line? So what if he started baking? Do you know what baking is?
The contouring?
Not the contouring. The baking is taking the loose powder and packing it under your eyes to make, and then just waiting maybe 10 to 15 minutes to let it set, and then brushing the excess off. And it really just brightens up your under eye. There's a whole process and contouring. So is there a line for you?
For me, I think the line would be there's a difference in making sure that your skin is healthy and it looks good. And I think when it goes over the top and the enhancements are a little extra,
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
For me personally.
No, I get it. For me too. For me too.
I don't want my man to be wearing eyeliner and different colors and all of that. But if you put on some powder on your face. I don't know, the bake, the cake, I don't know. Don't do the most.
As long as it looks natural, I'm good with that. But there was this one dude that I was like watching his videos on Instagram. He was really cute, but this like honestly was a deal breaker. We weren't even talking, but it was like, if I was interested in him, I wouldn't be because of this one thing. And it was, he would put too much like chapstick on, but it was more like lip gloss almost. It was like very hydrating. So his lips were very shiny. And it was almost like he did it too much and it was like going around his lips.
Oh no.
And if I was to kiss those lips, that would be weird. It looks too moist. I know a lot of you hate that word, but I'm like, I don't know how else to explain the look of his lips. And it was just such a turn off that I couldn't do it. But anything natural, subtle, I'm good with. But you would be surprised what a good tinted moisturizer would do for your skin. Anyways, if you have if you have a good question that you want us to answer for Ask Alex, hit us up on Instagram at resilientaf3 and we might just answer it here for y'all.
Yes.
All right, so next up is our resilient guest. And this week, I'm really excited for our guest. It happens to be one of my very best friends. Her name is Shorty. She's gonna be speaking about one of her past relationships, abuse, DV, just a heads up. If that triggers you, then just skip forward to the end where we're gonna be wrapping things up on a lighter note. All right, welcome, Shorty. Thank you so much for being here and being willing to share your story.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Shorty is just going to start it off with giving a snippet of her childhood and a little intro about what she's going to be speaking about, and then she's just going to kick it off with her story. So I will hand the mic over to you.
So I actually moved around quite a bit as a kid, but most of my childhood was spent in northern Idaho. Small town, scary. No, not really, but some of those people are strange. And I had a normal childhood. My parents were married for 32 years, never dealt with anything. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money, but I always had a bike and ran the streets. So overall, my childhood was great.
Okay.
So my resilience story starts probably when I was about 18 and I moved to Boise and didn't give a crap about life. I moved in with some friends from Elko where I went to high school and we just basically partied our asses off. Mm-hmm. And I actually was living with a guy when I met my future first husband, which is what I'm probably going to be talking about for most of this story. So I met him and to the guy I was living with at the time, found out that I was talking to my future first husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
And got extremely mad and basically tried keeping me there by like throwing me up against the wall. He tried stopping me from leaving.
Okay.
So then I called my future husband to come pick me up.
Not your husband now.
No.
So you're currently married right now for about 10 years, right? You've been with your current husband for about 10 years and have, you know, you don't have any kids with him, but you have 3 kids from your first.
Correct.
And then he has 2 kids from his first wife.
Yes. So then I was actually about to move back to Nevada, where I was from. And my future ex-husband was saying, hey, I'm getting a new place. Just move in with me. He didn't want me to go back.
Okay. Red flags already. Okay. That's super quick.
Yeah. 2.5 weeks. So I met my ex in the year 2000, right after I graduated high school, and we were together for 12 years. We have 3 kids together. We actually split up in 2013, right after our 3rd child, my son, was born. So what I'll be talking about in my story is what I suffered through 12 years of what didn't start out as domestic violence or mental abuse, but eventually got terrible.
Okay. So domestic violence, like verbal, physical abuse, mental abuse, all of the above?
All of the above.
Okay, so you met him at 18 and things were going okay for how long?
Things were going okay for about a month. Found out he cheated on me. I am a second chance person all the time. I'm guilty and decided to forgive him. Then I became pregnant probably a couple months later. And he convinced me to actually terminate that pregnancy because he told me that we were not ready to be parents.
How did that make you feel?
Terrible.
And how did that make you feel after you did that? And how was his reaction towards it?
Oh, it was terrible. He didn't give a shit.
And how was yours? Like, what did you feel? Like, were you suffering? Like, did you feel like a ton of loss? Like, I know a lot of women suffer and, you know, they have to go through that. And and they feel like they might be okay, but then end up not feeling okay about it and like really suffer like a lot of grief.
Yeah, I definitely felt some of that because I didn't want it. I actually had to go under general anesthesia in order to do it.
Oh.
And so, but I told him that if it ever happened again, that I'm keeping the baby.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mature enough at this point.
Okay.
And that happened about a year later.
So that's your first kid.
So you had your first daughter.
At 20 years old.
Okay.
And he worked out of town a lot. And so it was always just her and I hanging out at the house. We did our thing. We had a roommate. It was a mutual friend. So I did have a little bit of help around the house if I needed it. But then fast forward 3 years later.
Was he like present with her at all? Or was...
No.
How was like parenting with him with the first child, other than him being out of town all the time and you being alone? Like, did he ever come through? Did he provide?
He definitely provided financially. He had an amazing job. He worked on the oil rigs in southern Utah.
Okay.
But when he would be gone for 2 weeks, and then he would come home for a week. But when he would come home for a week, he'd sleep for the first 2 days, party for 3 or 4, and then sleep before he would leave again. And then he partied basically the whole time he was working down there.
Yeah.
Damn.
And that's when that alcohol kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
So he drank a lot?
Because he never did in the beginning. He smoked a lot of weed and sold a lot of weed.
Okay.
But he never really drank. Only like if we decided to party and go get some beers.
I was just about to ask you, did you party with him?
Not really, because
you had your daughter.
And I did that so much before that I was kind of over it.
Okay. So when did you get pregnant with your second daughter?
2005.
And so wait, the first one was 2000 what? I did this part out.
2002.
Okay. So 3 years
when
later.
I got pregnant with her.
Yeah. So 3 years later.
3 years later. Yeah. 3 years later, I became pregnant with my second daughter, but I didn't even realize it at the time.
Were you one of those girls who like showed up at the hospital and like popped a baby out?
No.
You didn't know they were pregnant? No, you knew. Okay. At some point.
There was an accident at his job. And he actually was like 2 inches away from getting his carotid artery cut.
Oh, shit.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. That's that one up here, I think. Yeah. And so that like fucked with him. And he just proceeded to take pain pills and just drink and drink and drink. And then didn't want to get a job. Didn't want to do any of that. So now I'm basically a single mom of 2. Because he was present, but he wasn't present. He was playing video games and selling weed. That was his source of income.
Did you guys get into like a lot of fights and stuff?
So yeah, when did the domestic abuse start?
Yeah. The first time it ever happened was probably right before I got pregnant with my first daughter. We were going to a family reunion in North Idaho, and I accidentally spilled ranch on his shoes, and he just immediately just whacked me on the side of the face.
He slapped you in the face?
Oh yeah.
So,
but like open-handed, so it didn't leave a mark.
I mean, I feel like when you get slapped in the face, it leaves a mark.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, but okay, so did it eventually lead to getting punched or worse? Would you fight back?
No.
So you would just like, would you just protect yourself?
In the beginning, I tried to fight back, and I realized that every time I did, it lasted longer and it got worse.
So when it first happened, were you scared?
Oh, totally. Because we were halfway to North Idaho. So it was either I turn around and come back to Boise, or we just power through.
And you're pregnant?
Before I found out I was, but yes.
This was before you found out.
Yes.
So you didn't know you were pregnant, and he hits you, and you still stayed. I'm only pointing this out because it happens a lot.
Wait,
And-
No, I totally.
Did he apologize and hit you? It was like, oh, it's never gonna happen.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, preaching to
So,
the choir.
but what makes me wonder is after the first time it happens, why women don't leave immediately.
Second chances.
Like, yes, and you can speak on that more because I just feel like for myself, because I've never been hit by a man, that because like this could just be like what I think, it could be completely different if it happened. I just feel like if someone hit me, that I would be so scared that I would like be cool with it like while I was around that person until I could get away from them, and then like never go back to that person, like seek shelter for safety, right? That's what I would imagine. So it's like I do see a lot of women go back to men who have hit them. So it's like I want to hear your point of view and how you got out of it, right? Like this is about resilience, and like you were in a really, really tough position and you were scared, and this man was physically, verbally, mentally abusing you for a long time, and you got out of it. So it's about resilience and overcoming. So when the first time it happened, it was about a second chance. Like he says that it's never going to happen again. He apologizes, and then it happens again. So what about third chances? What happens after that? Walk me through this.
So at that point, I think by the time it got so bad, I think I was so mind fucked that I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything without him. He had me convinced that no one ever wanted me. My parents would never take me back because they didn't want to raise their grandchildren. Basically just told me everything to break me down so low that that's all I believed.
So would you consider him to be a narcissist? I don't know if we should put this in there, but
I do, it's definitely in the gene pool.
so narcissism is in the gene pool, but it's like narcissism can be learned. Narcissism can be, something that
Reaction.
yes, and it also could be very similar, like behavior to addiction. Okay, So I mean, we can't even speak on if he is or not because we don't know, right? Unless he's been diagnosed and you have heard it, right? So and he's told you, but so that's who you're dealing with. So fast forward, you get pregnant again at what year?
With the third kid
Yes, with your
in
son.
2000. So we got married in 2011, and I got pregnant with him shortly after in 2013 or 2012 because I had him in 2013.
Okay, and then what was life like then? Because this was like quite a bit later.
Oh, it was hell. I basically just walked around and existed.
Right. And we're just probably just
It was
dissociating the whole
Walking
time.
on it. Sorry, what?
You were probably just dissociating the whole time.
Yes,
And
So
she said
one-
walking on eggshells.
constantly.
Okay, say that again though.
Because-
Like,
It was walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bet. What is that
It was-
like? Talk about. It's just having hope that like nothing will go wrong. So you're just like literally walking on eggshells, hoping that you don't, cause any reactions or anything to happen. And it's also because I've been in that place where you're walking on eggshells, and it's not only like in hopes that they won't do something. It's just in hopes that like this whole situation will be fine. Like you just want this situation and your relationship with your father's kids to be okay. So you're like, let me not, do anything that's gonna like mess that
yeah,
up.
but that's actually complete bullshit because it's gotten to that point where he has manipulated her into having to walk on eggshells and act like that because she doesn't want to deal with the reaction. And
Right.
Yes.
It's just a cycle.
yeah, and
It's
he's
like trying to decipher what landmine you're going to step on and what that reaction is going to be. Because
Right.
sometimes it just might be a yelling, and the next it might be really bad.
what describe really bad.
The worst it ever, the worst, and probably the last time was he was out with his friends, probably the damn strip club, because that's where he loved to spend his money. And he came home and I was sleeping and he woke me up because he decided he wanted to have sex. And this is like at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I fought back because I didn't want to do that. And basically, like, I don't like to use the R word, but he pretty much raped me.
Okay.
And
did it happen did it happen a lot?
that was the word. Yeah, I would go with it most of the time. But that time I was just like, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done. And
So you were, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, keep going.
okay, so when I eventually fought back, he pinned me down and basically strangled me until every blood vessel in my face had popped in my eyes. There was a mirror next to the wall and I was gasping for air. So I thought I was going to die. I was gasping for air so bad that I broke the mirror. And then he proceeded to let go and just continue on. Drug me down the hall, through the living room. Like, have you seen the picture of Rihanna? Imagine that times 10. I had probably bruised or broken ribs. I didn't go to the hospital. He woke up the next day and had zero recollection of what he had done. I told you it was bad, Alex.
What happens after that? Do you call someone? Are you afraid to call someone? You get your kids out of there?
Do you want me to blow your mind?
Yeah.
I had gotten offered a job the day before, and I had to call them and tell them I had a family emergency and stay in my home for 2 weeks before I could start that job.
Oh.
And you know what I got out of it? A Dyson vacuum. That was his apology.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
When did you start saying, like, I'm not dealing with this? I'm not doing the cycle on you?
Pretty much that. And at that point I worked, I took care of my kids, and we were basically roommates that took care of our kids together. And I just avoided him like the plague. I let him do whatever. I knew he was out cheating. I knew he was out doing his thing. And at that point, I just did not care. I didn't care anymore. I just wanted my family to be together.
So like why did you guys break up? And when?
Oh, you're a mess. So we got married in 2011 in July. My mom died in October following our wedding. And then that was around the same time that all that was going on. And then probably right after my third kid was born in 2013, he found someone that he thought he just couldn't live without and decided he wanted a separation. Which I didn't want my family to break up, but at the same time, it was a breath of fresh air.
Right, exactly.
Because as soon as he left and moved in with her, I could breathe in my house for the first time.
Right. Oh my gosh.
That's just really tough to hear because like you're my best friend.
I mean, there was another time where he went off the deep end over Joe's Crab Shack and completely trashed the entire house to where I had to go get a motel room with my kids because it wasn't a living environment. There was glass everywhere. He ripped a fucking counter out of the kitchen.
A counter?
A counter. like you know how your kitchen, you have like the long counters, and then every now and then there's like a single little counter completely ripped out. It was just.
So when he left,
it was scary.
When he left, did he just left the kids with you all the time?
Yes.
But that was probably like preferable because when he was there, he wasn't helping with the kids anyway. He was just providing. And I'm sure like after he moved out and like went to this girl who like unfortunately for her, you know, he's, you know, a POS piece of shit, you know, so it's like it's probably going to continue with her. But did he?
No.
He provided through. Oh, it didn't happen with her.
Mm-mm. He treated her like a queen.
But it eventually did happen to others, right?
Not to my knowledge. That's the one that he caught charges for.
Yeah, he was. Can I say this? Like he just went to jail, and he had,
yes.
And he was in jail for a while, like
5 months.
For what?
I actually wrote a letter on his behalf for this because he actually gave me the discovery for court. So I got to read everything that she was claiming he was doing, and I could see everything he was doing.
Okay,
but
so
it was never threatening. It was just, oh, I love you so much. Oh, I can't live without you.
So what did he go
obsessed.
So what did he go to jail for?
Stalking.
Yes. And
abusive.
But there's a reason why she got that to begin with, though, Shorty.
But she's also dropped.
She what?
To no contact. She dropped. She had no contact orders on him for this previously that she had dropped so she could move in with him.
So he's just a hot mess.
So they
express.
were just, yeah. So
So
they just fed off each other.
But I've heard a lot of stories over the years, you know, of your guys' relationship. But it's like after you guys broke up, you were a single mom of 3 now. That's fucking tough. And now you're trying to figure it out. And like you had nothing.
No, I couch surfed for about a year.
Yeah.
Like
damn.
Our lady I worked with like let me stay at her house for a month. I only worked part-time. So it was even that was even that much harder. I basically paid people with my food stamps. Like, here, I don't want to just feed my family. You're letting me stay at your house. Let me help you. Let's, you know. I stayed with his stepsister for a while, but then she was a succubus. She just wanted money out of me that I didn't have. She was mad I wasn't giving her money and instead like going and getting my kids' school clothes.
Yeah.
When she was the one that invited me to stay in her home. I didn't ask. I never asked anyone for anything. So many of my friends, if that's what you want to call them, like knew that all this was going on. And no one reached out. So I just figured it out. My family, so at that point, my mom's gone. And no one would help me unless I went back to Nevada, which I couldn't do because as soon as I did, I was going to be court ordered back. So why am I going to do that?
Why do you think that you would be court ordered back? He did.
Because it happened. He court ordered me back.
For what?
The kids.
No. I'm like, why would he want the kids? He doesn't want the responsibility.
He had me living with his dad because I had nowhere else to go. Well, his dad's just as bad as he is without the physical abuse.
And why do you think he wants you to live with his dad? So he can still control you?
Control. Yes, absolutely. So at that point, I was trying to figure out how the fuck to get out. And that's when I started talking to my husband now. And his dad found out and lost his mind.
What did he do?
He decided to catch me in the hallway in front of my children and tell me what a fucking piece of shit mom I am. And how I'm putting this man that I'm talking to on the phone before my kids. Meanwhile, his son's living with another woman and only sees his kids every other weekend. And he basically spit on me.
Wow.
And Lloyd was on the phone in Montana. And
Lloyd is your current husband, by the way. So for people who...
Sorry. So Lloyd was on the phone with me and heard the entire thing. And he called Boise PD to come over to the house.
So did he get charged?
No, because he took off.
Damn.
He was not there when the police arrived.
So then...
The police actually told me to go in because he couldn't kick me out.
Yeah.
They told me to go back. And I chose to go get a motel room.
Good. That's for your safety.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unfortunately, it's like him and his son, they are just passing down generational trauma. And you were forced into leaving. So, you know, my therapist actually told me recently, which I see on a weekly basis in person, she calls me out when she needs to. And she recently just told me, if one of my recent past relationships never left me, she doesn't think that I would have ever left him. And I was thinking about it, like I was kind of like, what is the word? Hold on. Like not shocked, but like, you know, do you guys know the word I'm looking for? No?
Like baffled?
In disbelief.
Similar, but it's like when someone is like, what? I'm not like...
What is it called? You're in denial.
Not denial. Well, hold on. Let me just think for 1 second. If not, I'll just say one of those words. I was like kind of offended. I was like, what? Like, but then I thought about it a lot after that. And I'm like, I understand what she meant. So it's like, if you weren't forced into leaving because you had to, because he left you, you might not have ever.
No, and it got 10 times worse, I think, after my mom died, just because she was the person I would talk to. Like, she deep down knew what was going on, but I never told anyone that it was going on. But I would always collect myself and then call my mom and just say, how was your day?
So,
and I talked to her almost every day.
She never knew that it was like as bad as it was.
She didn't know. She never knew.
Did she have a clue?
I never told her.
Like, did you ever tell? Like, did you ever like sugarcoat things, like, but not tell her like the whole truth?
Like, oh, we got in an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would do too. So you left. You stayed in a hotel that night, and then what? What about you and Lloyd? Like, what did going from there?
He actually drove. So as soon as I got in the motel room, he was already on the road. He was living in Butte, Montana, and working there. Yeah, he was living there. But he drove down and showed up at the hotel at like 4:00 in the morning. And that's not exactly how I would want my kids to meet someone I was with. But they almost looked at it as he was rescuing them too, out of a bad situation.
Oh, yeah. And I love Lloyd. He's a great guy.
And I've known him forever. So.
Oh yeah, you guys went to high school together.
We went to prom.
Okay, so by the way, explain that story.
Like how we were talking again, or
no, just like from the start of you guys. Okay,
so him and I dated in high school. He was always at my house because him and my brother were in the same program at the community college in Nevada. So he was always at my house. He was always staying the night over there because my parents were, as he would put it, a great time. It drove me crazy because I didn't drink a lot or do anything. But yes, we had a pool table. We had dartboards. We had a whole bar. Like, it was fun.
So he came over and you guys fell in love. Yeah. You were in high school?
I was 16. He had just graduated.
Okay. So then He went to prom with you?
For my junior year.
And then when did you guys like break up?
We broke up. We were together for like 7 months, I think. 6-7 months.
Okay,
and we broke up. He's going to tell you it's for another guy. No, I did go hang out with a guy though before that. But it's because I was a pothead and Lloyd didn't do any of that.
He still doesn't like that.
Separate...
He still gets on your ass about that. I'm like, leave her alone.
But
you hear me, Lloyd? Leave her alone.
Right.
Okay.
No, I felt like I was married because he was there every day, every single day. He literally slept on the futon. Like he had his own.
Okay, so you guys broke up, and then you met your ex-husband, your first husband, ex now.
Yes.
And then all of that happened, right? And then so fast forward, you're like, he's coming down from Montana, but y'all know each other. You've known each other for a really long time, and he's come to Captain Save-A-Ho, right?
Right after all of this, like all that shit happened
And
after you guys broke up. So
in the
like a
meantime,
full circle.
I'm just gonna preface this. We're gonna be interviewing Lloyd next week, and I'm just gonna put this out there that while all that went down, he got married and had 2 girls himself. Okay, but he's gonna so he's gonna be explaining his story next week. But yeah, so he came down, and then like what? Ever since then is history. You guys like never separated after that?
Pretty much. I went up to Butte, and this is why I got court ordered back. So I went up to Butte and interviewed for a position, and I got offered the job immediately. It was a huge pay increase. The cost of living there's super low, and I took the job, and as soon as my ex caught wind of it, he had me served, basically.
So you had to go back, and then what happened there?
That's when we started going through the custody stuff, and that's when me and Lloyd just basically hustled every dime we could together to just get into a place.
Well, okay. I think that this is a good like pausing point, unless you have some stories that you want to tell before.
I mean, I have stories for days, but
because next week we're gonna do Lloyd's story. Then
you're gonna do Lloyd next week?
Yeah, we're gonna do you. We're gonna do him. We're gonna do you guys together. Sounds kinky, huh? But what I'm actually really excited about is to do their interview together, because I just know them so well. And like y'all, when they were drunk and I wasn't, they had a really great idea, the 2 of them. And then when they became sober the next day, they didn't think it was such a great idea, but I still thought it was a fantastic idea.
It is a great idea. I love it.
And this was, she would get her ex-husband to do an interview, and then he would get his ex-wife to do an interview. And I thought, I was like, yes, dude, I didn't even come up with this idea. And then they're backing out the next day. Oh, no. Hell no. You were like, oh, he'll do it. But they're asking me to ask them, you know what? How about this? Should I ask their exes if I can interview them? Hit us up on Instagram at Resilient. Hold on 1 second. Hit us up on Instagram at ResilientAF3. Should I ask Lloyd and Shorty's exes if I should interview them after theirs? Okay.
I mean, you should ask that question after hours.
After hearing this story, I'm going to be like looking at him with the stank eye.
Exactly.
But he's going to have to convince me why the fuck he ain't no narcissist. Don't put this in there. Edit that out. Okay. You can be like, beep, 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 beep. So it is what it is, though. You know, like he actually apologized to Shorty for his actions, and talk about what he's like now.
So once he was with that same girl on and off for about 7 years.
Holy shit!
And as long as she was in the picture, we never got along. He was always flaking out on his kids. There was always more important things to do. They were always late for school. It was all about her. And as soon as she left the picture, that was a whole nother breath of fresh air, because we can co-parent just fine. We don't text. unless it's in a group text with Lloyd. He still tries every now and then, but I don't respond unless it's in the group text. He's a good dad now that he's present, because he's sober. As long as he's sober and is present, he's a good dad.
Kids are a little bit older. I mean, 2 of your kids are grown at this point. And
they still live with him though.
Yeah. Okay,
But-
so okay, what do you think? Bennett, do you have any other questions?
No other questions. Because I feel like the story is not complete just yet.
Yeah. So so next week, we'll do another Zoom interview sometime this week. And we'll, I think, what do you think we should do? Do you think we should do them together, or do you think we should do Lloyd first?
I think you should do him next,
Yeah.
and then the next one, them together.
All right. Okay. Well, I think this is a good stopping point. And next week, we're going to do Lloyd's story. And then the following week, we're going to do their story together. They got a lot of juicy things that they want to talk about. And let me tell you, Lloyd will spill it. Okay? He's like, oh, I'll say everything. Don't hold back.
We'll get his half of the story of like what was going on and what
Yes.
happened
Mm-hmm.
for the full story of where they are now together.
Yes, because he went through some shit too with
Yeah.
his dad and his brother, and
Yeah, he'll speak on that. And then he'll also speak on that too. But Shorty was like, I don't even want him listening to my podcast.
Oh gosh. So we have a 3-parter now.
Yeah, we do. We do. Maybe a 5 if we can get the exes involved.
Oh, I don't know about that. We'll see.
yeah,
it'll be like Jerry Springer. I thought it would be super entertaining.
Sidekick.
I thought what?
I said Bennett will come through with a sidekick. Wow.
Right.
Someone in the head.
All right. Well, I mean, I really appreciate you being vulnerable and speaking about, things that were really traumatizing to you, and what you dealt with. And it's just very courageous, as I always say. But I love you, and my heart breaks that you had to deal with that. But you are an amazing person.
Another day of therapy.
And oh God, I don't know if that's something to brag about.
Right.
All right. Well, I love you. And do you want to do trivia?
I will.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at senseless, useless information.
Oh, fuck. Okay, here we go.
They have buns, they have bods, but do they have brains? It's fine. It's time to find out with Hot Seat Trivia. Alex Fresh, Shorty. One baddie will bring her body out of the room while the other baddie attempts to answer as many trivia questions as she can in 60 seconds. Now here's the rules. Your first answer is the only answer, so think before you speak. If you don't know an answer, pass, and we'll try to get to it if you have time. After the first baddie goes, we'll switch and see who comes out on top. This is Hot Seat Trivia. So Alex, take your body out of the room.
All right, let's get it. Text me when you're ready.
Set the 60-second timer. As soon as you answer that first question, I'll set the timer up, okay?
Okay.
All right, Alex, time to go. All right, are you ready, Shorty?
Yes.
What are the 2 national sports of Canada?
Hockey, soccer.
What is a male duck called?
Pass.
How many time zones are in the United States?
4.
Which chocolate bar claims to be the great American chocolate bar?
Hershey's.
In the movies Mean Girls, where does the slang word fetch come from?
Pass.
Which German car brand translate to the people's car?
Volkswagen.
How old was the notorious B.I.G. when he was murdered?
27. That's a guess.
What shape are bee honeycombs?
Hexagon.
Which planet has the largest lake?
Saturn.
What is the first holiday of the year?
New Year's Day.
Oh, good job. Good job. You got 5 right.
Shut up.
Yes. All right, let's
Amazing.
call Alex over.
All right.
Alex,
All right. I'm
you
back.
might want to send that bottle of champagne and get it ready
Oh,
because
fuck. I'm nervous, y'all.
has 5.5 points.
Oh, wait. She has 5.5 points?
Yes.
You already said it? That's not fair.
Ah.
That's good, too. Okay, let's go.
You ready? So I'm going to set the timer. As soon as you answer that first question, you are good to go. Ready?
Yeah.
What are the 2 national sports of Canada?
Ooh, hockey and lacrosse.
What is a male duck called?
Pass.
How many time zones are in the United States?
4.
Which chocolate bar claims to be the Great American Chocolate Bar?
Hershey's.
In the movie Mean Girls, where does the word fetch come from?
Like, what does it mean?
Where does the slang word fetch come from?
Good? Cool?
Which German car brand translates to the people's car?
Pass.
How old was the Notorious B.I.G. when he was murdered?
1997.
What shape are what shape are bee honeycombs? Time.
Hexagon.
Alex. Time. We're gonna go over the answers now.
Shit.
What are the 2 national sports of Canada? They are lacrosse in the summer and soccer in the fall.
How's
Shut
hockey
the
not
fuck
on
up. Hockey's not on there?
Hockey's not on there.
I knew lacrosse was, but I for sure thought hockey
You
was.
both got a half a point. What is a male drake called? I mean, a male duck. What is a male duck called? A drake, like the rapper Drake.
Okay.
How many time zones are in the United States? 6.
Fuck.
Either one of you got it right. Which chocolate bar claims to be the Great American Chocolate Bar? Hershey's. You both got that right. In the movies Mean Girls, where does the slang word fetch come from? It's from England. It's fetch. Yes. Which German car brand translates to the people's car? Shorty, do you want to let her know?
Volkswagen.
You got a point for that one. How old was the Notorious B.I.G. when he was murdered? 24. Not when, Alex.
Oh, well, fuck off. Was this 1997? Was he 24?
What? He was 24 though, but she didn't get that point.
What year? Did she?
No.
Get it? Nope. What shape is a bee honeycomb? A hexagon. You both got that point. Which planet has the largest lake? Jupiter. You didn't even get to that.
That's what I almost said.
Dang it.
I almost said Jupiter.
And what is the first holiday of the year? New Year's Day, which you got, Shorty.
Jesus.
Shorty with 5.5 points. First person to beat Alex at Hot Seat Trivia.
It's my
ever.
bestie. I love that. I'm going to send you a bottle of champagne.
Round of applause.
Wow, I've been waiting. Congratulations,
Oh,
Shorty.
I'm so
You
happy.
want to play Hot Seat Trivia and you think you could beat Alex
Like my bestie.
at ResilientAF3 on Instagram, Gmail, and whatever's clever. If you win, you get a bottle of champagne.
There you go. All right, well, thanks, Shorty, for playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell Lloyd he's up next.
Okay.
All right, dope. Yeah, like he said, if you want to play me in trivia and try and beat me like my best friend just fucking did, like I'm kind of a little butthurt about that, then hit us up at ResilientAF3 on Instagram. And that's it for this week. So if you also want to follow us individually, you can. I'm at that Dreas.
I am at BennettKnows.
And if you want to share your resilient story, hit us up on Gmail. It's resilientaf3@gmail.com.
Woo!
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening again. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.